And welcome to I guess, special mini-sode of Oddity Archive. I'm not feeling too special right now. But if you're watching this, I think it's safe to assume you saw last week's video. The big episode 200. And after that little bundle of joy, I feel like I need to give a little context and certainly a bit of a rebuttal to that thing. So a few years ago, when I hit episode 100, I thought I would try and make kind of the ultimate archive episode, and I did the Commodore 64. And I thought, that would be perfect because it's got some tech, it's got some weird content, it's got a history lesson tied to it. It can be one of those rare archive episodes that hits all the targets. And the thing bombed spectacularly. I mean, I guess everybody had their own idea of what episode 100 should be, and it wound up not living up to anybody's expectations. And so when episode 200 started coming down the pike, my first thought was, screw it. I'm just going to jump straight from 199 to 201. Who needs the heartache? And that would be even better. It can be an urban legend. But then, of course, reality kicked in, and I realized that I just would not get away without an episode 200. So I started thinking about it, and I thought, you know what? I'm just going to make it a regular old everyday archive episode. And strangely enough, around the same time, I was contacted by this supposedly great Swedish documentarian named Hans Krulitzer. And boy, would I like to get my hands on Krulitzer right now. But the first red flag should have been that the guy doesn't have so much as an IMDb page. But anyway, he offered me for $500, he will make a half retrospective, half celebratory thing. And I can put that out for episode 200. And of course, 500 is a lot of money, but I figured, well, if it bombs, whatever. And, maybe it'd be nice to detach myself from at least an episode. And so I first off, I gave the guy the keys to the kingdom. I do not take visitors at Archive HQ ever. Hans was the first. And I really let him dig through my files and all that stuff. And he found stuff I'd totally forgotten existed. Like, I'd totally forgotten I even owned a ukulele. And so he did that, took all sorts of pictures and footage and stuff. And then he said, well, I'd like to interview some of your friends and colleagues. And I thought, oh, great, that'll give it some more context. So sure, and if you've been doing this as long as I have, you meet a few people, you develop some friendships. And so I gave him my contact list. And apparently most everybody was willing to talk to the guy. And I'm kind of wishing they hadn't. Boy, you learn who your real friends are, don't you? So anyway, that brings me to the rebuttal part. Some of those interviews just made no sense to me. So first off, Paul, you know who I am. We have known each other for years. And Eric, I don't know what the hell was going through his mind, going off on that weird tangent about interlacing. And I granted, things run together after 200 episodes, but I don't recall ever talking about interlacing on tape. And he compares it to a DVD recorder, and he's talking about backing up media and stuff, and I'm like, what? If I'm backing up media, I usually go just straight from the source to the computer. There's no tape involved. If it's Dropout City, I'll use the DVD recorder and I'll just go from there. And, what difference does it make anyway? It's what works. So, and then Skip. Yeah, we have crossed paths many, many times. But I assure you, I have never gotten into a bidding war with you on eBay. Certainly not for 16mm film. I have never bid on 16mm film in my life. I don't even own a 16mm projector, for the love of Mike. And Tecmone, you couldn't even bring out the Muppets? Jeez. And as for the fan interviews, I don't know where Hans found these so-called fans, but I'm pretty sure they're not. But there was one kind of very tiny ray of sunshine to this. He left me with a ton of interview footage. And of course, there was no way this could all be used in the video. And some of it was almost positive, certainly better than what made it into the final product. So I figured I would take this week to try and, I don't know, save my own reputation a bit. I shouldn't have to do that. Anyway, just let's roll the footage.
I mean, whenever we would talk, I mean, he would go on these ridiculous tirades about backwards masking, and he would tell me that he would see hamsters in his dreams, and I was like, Ben, calm down, buddy. All right, this is Gino you're talking to here. But he would go on and say that he has dreams to take over the world. About he would tell me about how he wants to acquire every single mask of Max Headroom there is in existence, and try to recreate the hijacking as best as possible. And he told me, I mean, he even owned up to some crimes, and I was like, dude, you better calm down. I mean, there are people listening to this stuff probably. Statute of limitations or not. I mean, he even admitted to me that he was the guy who, hijacked WTTW and WGN back in the day. He was the hijacker, you know. So I was genuinely frightened. I was like, dude, no, that happened back in the '80s, brother. No, but he was adamant. He was adamant. He was like, no, that was me. That was me. I showed them all. I showed all of them, and I'm happy, and I'm glad. And I was like, Ben, just go get some water. Just go get some water, dude. And he was like, no, Gino, that was me. It was also me in the hamster costume at Amvest. I could do the voice for you if you want me to. And he proceeded to do it, and I was like, Ben, you're going off the rails, man. You're going off the rails. I think you need to go see someone. And he was like, no, Gino, no.
What virtues do you feel lack in Oddity Archive?
What virtues do I think lack? Oh, there's quite a bit actually. Let's talk about how Benny Boy clearly doesn't know what to give his fans. I mean, he hasn't reviewed the Butterstick from his first intro, and he hasn't made a sequel to Scary Video logos. I mean, do you know how annoying it is to go back to that video just to hear the opening song over and over again?
So, like, if odd is your thing, yeah, you can find a lot of stuff just searching the internet for odd stuff. But if you're looking for the oddest of the odd, the zenith, the pinnacle, the utmost of odd, you go to the Oddity Archive. I mean, this guy's covered stuff you've never heard of before. Like the DBX noise reduction system, the Pixel 2000, the EAX zombie hoax of 2013. It doesn't get any odder. He agrees with me.
Have you not seen the Commodore 64 when you read 50 Shades of Grey? I'm thinking the boy might be a bit of a masochist. I mean, look at the U-matic. Maybe he thought he was Anastasia and U-matic was Mr. Grey.
I really don't understand how this guy thinks he can sit behind a box for 20 to 30 minutes, talk about crap that doesn't matter, and call it content. Like, if he's made 200 episodes worth of this stuff, like, and not even to mention all of the side serious videos. Like, he must really have nothing better to do with his time.
Yeah, I still can't believe that Oddity Archive has made it to 200 episodes. I think nobody saw that coming. Ben showed the world that VD is an egalitarian condition. It doesn't discriminate against or towards any particular socio-economic background, so it is a condition that everybody can have. If I could get Pavand played at my funeral, I would die a happy man.
If it wasn't for the Oddity Archive, I wouldn't have learned a lot of things about film, music, and television history that I wouldn't have known otherwise. I also wouldn't have known that I needed a certain video in my collection that is now considered my prized possession. So this is now in my collection just because of the archive. Thank you for that so much.
Several years ago, I stumbled on this YouTube channel called Oddity Archive, and there's several episodes called Record Ripoffs, which are devoted to discussing those crappy knockoff albums that people were suckered into buying off of TV years ago. My ears will never be the same again.
Benny Boy. Yeah, he was an excellent chap. He at least decorated his box.
I once tried to buy the Oddity Archive from Ben for about £2.89 and a chewed up jelly baby. He didn't take it, so I tried to make a book about what could be said about Ben and the Oddity Archive. The best of. I bet you can gather it's empty though, can't you? Cut. Nope, that's the DVDs. Anyway, happy 200 episodes, Ben. Thumbs up.
Hello, my name is Mark. I'm a podcaster. In 2014, I went to a website called YouTube. On that little website, I found a channel that would redefine for me what I thought about the world of strange and nearly forgotten content. I remember being knocked out by the exuberance, the raw power, and the videos weren't too long either. That channel was America's now legendary, the Oddity Archive. I would like to now give you an example of what Oddity Archive would be if it were mine. Hello and welcome to Oddity Archive, the new edition. So today I'm just going to be talking about some of the things that are in my personal archive, and such as the most boring card game ever created. This is the tennis game. That's a card game, a tennis card game, if you can imagine. It's very interesting. A little bit of side quest, removable hard disk cartridge. This is a very rare piece. This came from the Village Voice Archives, believe it or not, in New York City, from when I worked there. We have a bootleg VHS copy of Cocksucker Blues. Very, very rare. Maybe not so rare anymore, but very rare for the time when I bought it. We have a Palm Pilot from late 90s. We have the Cat Adventure video. Cat Adventure for your cats. It's amazing. Cats love it. We have an early 80s Sony Walkman that I picked up in a garage sale. Probably for $1.